Oatmeal.
All right. We're talking about fasting.
Yeah.
Just because our last pod and then our new guest, he was asking questions.
He's very intrigued about
it's funny,
the whole fasting thing.
We didn't even have answers to his questions.
So we're like, yeah, it's good for you.
Yeah, but that's why you like doing it.
Terrible spokesman for fasting.
It
Anyway,
kills some stuff in your body.
It does
but
something.
I just
It kills
don't
this thing in
eat
your
for a
body, and
while.
it prevents cancer and
what's the
heals you.
benefits? It does something.
Helps
That's
you
all
lose
I
weight.
know.
All I know is I have to have breakfast. I eat oatmeal like 5 or 6 days a week.
Wait, you can eat oatmeal at 1 p.m.
I eat oatmeal. I can eat oatmeal for dinner.
So we're not saying don't have breakfast food. You can have breakfast
You know what's
late.
crazy?
Oh, I see what you're saying.
I
right.
love oatmeal, and I
Right.
always buy oatmeal.
Right.
And then I forget to make oatmeal, and it expires, and I throw out the oatmeal.
I love oatmeal. I haven't had it. Do you do overnight oats?
No. I do
Just straight up.
just straight up in the package. Add some hot water.
so
Okay,
delicious.
see,
Yeah.
I buy the steel cut joints, and you gotta sit there for like 10 minutes.
Oh,
and
you're
wait.
doing real stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to do work in the morning.
right,
I just need a cup of coffee. I heat up the water, coffee, oatmeal.
Nice.
I normally get up and start my day about 5:45 or 6 a.m. So I need that when I'm early,
You said
flying
energy.
through all those
rising.
emails, just eating my oatmeal.
Do you drink
drinking my
coffee?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
love that. Glad to hear.
Yeah.
Coffee drinkers. All right, that was a beautiful start to the pod. What's going on? Welcome back to Fourth Meal,
Welcome,
Eric
welcome.
Deluxe and DJ
DJ5.
Five. Man, this guest, known him for my entire career,
Yeah.
in at least from the radio days. If you grew up in LA in the 90s, early 2000s, you know who this guy is. Legend, still doing it. And I just came to his event a week or two ago now, and I was so
Downtown,
inspired.
yeah.
So I always wanted to get him on the pod, but I've learned it's always best to ask people in person. Just like, don't give them room to say no.
That should look fun too.
Make it
Actually,
so
that's
awkward.
actually
You're having
good,
a blast that day.
Because think about it, if you text someone, they can think of so many excuses
Right.
Oh,
or
yeah.
reasons to not do it.
Or just not even respond.
Or not
Right.
respond.
Right.
But in person, he's just like, dude, I'm down. But actually, he was like, yo, I actually heard the NGV one.
Yeah,
Let's
I
do
checked
it.
out the
Dope,
NGV,
dope.
so I was in.
Richard Vision, welcome to the pod.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Also, I know you don't like Humpty, but Richard Humpty Vision. And I
Well, there
remember,
you go.
dude, I don't know if you remember, but one day I was like, yo, why'd you drop? Like, I personally was a big fan of the name Humpty. Like, it just sounds so cool. Richard. It sounds like a boxer. Floyd, Money, Mayweather, like fucking.
Richard Humpty Vision.
Yeah, there you go.
It's like a boxer. Like you had
Right.
that one nickname in the middle
Right.
between the first and
yeah.
last. But
We got rid of it. We
I
had to
know
drop
you
it.
said you told me. So I asked you. You were like, my sister gave me that name, and I always hated it or something.
No,
right?
no. The program director at Power gave me the name.
I thought you said
Oh,
your
shit.
sister gave you the name.
No. The program director. I was gonna start mixing on Power 106.
Rick Cummings.
No, before
Before.
Cummings. This is
Okay.
right before Cummings. And he was like, all right, we're gonna have you start mixing every week on the radio. We gotta give you a nickname. We gotta snazz up your name. And I was like, okay. Now, mind you, at this time there was only one other person.
What year is this?
This is 1991.
Okay.
The beginning
Wow.
of 91.
Was Power? I want to like really go
Yeah.
there. So was Power 106 a dance station? Was it new?
It was
They
so
just
Power
flipped?
106 started in 1984. Came on
When?
board in 1984 and took over Los Angeles.
playing dance music.
Playing dance music.
Okay.
So the way
wow.
Power 106 broke in, and I just had a conversation with Rick Cummings about this. Power 106 started off as a top 40 radio station trying to compete with KISS. They weren't
So
getting
KISS was
anywhere,
around.
and it was called Magic. They weren't getting anywhere in the ratings as Magic. And finally, somebody came in and they're like, what do? We can't compete with KISS, our ratings. And somebody came in and said, I looked at this population scope. Do you know in 10 years, Los Angeles will be a majority Latino? And they were like, let's program for them. They went out to a club. They saw kids dancing a freestyle. They added freestyle that Monday,
Wow.
changed the name to Power 106. And I
Wow.
could tell you, I've never seen anything from being a kid in the streets and hearing like all of a sudden it was Stevie B on the
Yeah.
radio. You were like, oh, they're playing the music that we play in the clubs. And they just became the biggest thing on the planet.
Especially because back then you didn't have access to the music.
No, there was
like
no
if you hear
access.
it, like hearing it on the radio, it's
Yeah.
like, damn, like I don't have this CD or cassette.
No.
I'm guessing at the time, right?
Yeah, there was no access. So they were like they were playing the music that we were playing in the club. So and playing remixes that we didn't have access to. So it was like they were on another level. So when I got there in 1990, I actually started off as an intern.
Were you DJing at the time?
I was DJing in the streets, but
Okay.
I started off at Power as an intern.
Okay.
Just answering phones for free. I didn't let anybody know I was a DJ. I was just, and then they had a research department. And in the research department, this is hilarious. We'd cold call people and play them songs that we're playing on the radio with a little cassette.
Yeah.
And get them their feedback.
Yeah,
I remember this.
And they would
hearing
determine
stories.
That's crazy.
how, if they should bump up the songs, you know,
The spins.
in rotation and spins, or bring it down, figure out if a song was burning out. Because there's no internet.
That's crazy.
So this was the only feedback that they would get from actual listeners.
That's
and
insane.
I
That's
became
crazy.
assistant research director at Power. And this is all before anybody even, I didn't go to anybody, here's my tape, let me mix on the radio, because I saw everybody else doing that. And they were getting shot down because there was only Boris and Chris. So finally,
Boris and Chris were the on-air people at the time? On-air
Boris
time?
and Chris were the mixing DJs.
Mixing DJs.
They were the only ones that mixed on Power for about 6 years.
Okay.
Nobody could get in.
That's it.
That was it. They were God. Nobody can get in. I was the first DJ to get in after Boris and Chris had it locked in for like 6 years.
Is it because they left or they just included you?
No, I won't get into the specifics of that. But let's just say I had an opportunity to, Boris went on vacation. And so
First mistake.
That's how it always goes down.
that's why I never go on
your spot.
That's why I never go on vacation.
Yeah, don't
don't go on
mistake.
vacation.
Yeah,
So no,
that's
he went
funny.
on vacation. He had an understudy that that was going to replace him, and they were mixing live from the Palace, which is now
Wow.
called Avalon.
Yeah.
And it was live on Saturday nights. And so the music director, he had heard some of my tapes and stuff like that. He said, hey, man, we're going to give you a shot and let you mix on Saturday nights. So when we went to go do it, I was playing like at midnight to 2, but they thought on the radio, the better guy would play earlier because it's 10 to 12.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'll take the 12 o'clock slot. This
Hell
is the
yeah.
one I knew the club
Yeah.
was going to be jumping.
That's the headlining club slot.
That's the spot. And what I did was they were doing like about 700 people every week at the time. And I asked them, like, is it okay if I print up my own flyers and do some promotion? And they're like, yeah. So, because I came from the house party scene. I came from doing my own clubs like at the Casa with my boys. So I knew how to promote. So within 4 weeks, we went from 700 to 1,500.
Wow.
And so that was kind of like, and they're like, I would go on, it'd be like a roar, it'd be a party. And the first time, this is actually pretty funny, the first time I was supposed to mix, and this is, talk about a career left or right, they were doing it off of, like, you had to pick records that they would play in rotation. And they were like, all right, Richard, you're going to play this R&B record and this record and this record and this record. And I was like,
Damn.
at midnight?
Damn.
So you still had to follow
So-
programming.
But this is what I did. I walked into the music director and I said, hey, man, I appreciate the opportunity, but if I have to play these records at midnight, that's not the way to go. I don't think these should be played in Mixshow, to be honest. And he looked at me, he goes, wait, you're going to turn down an opportunity of a lifetime based on the choice of records? And I said, I just don't think it's right. I don't think that's what you play at midnight. I don't think that's what you play on Power 106 in the Mix Show. And he goes, you know, Boris and Chris are the only ones to mix, and you're the first person to mix besides them. And I said, yeah. He goes, well, I'll tell you what. I'm going to let you play whatever you want, but if I don't like it, it's your last time.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I knew the records to play. I knew if I was going to play like pop type of records, I'm going to play It Takes Two. I'm going to play Debbie Deb. I'm going to play Lookout Weekend. And I knew those were records that everybody knew.
In the club.
But then I can also play in my house in techno.
Mm-hmm.
And then that just opened the doors for me from day one to play whatever I wanted to play on the radio.
I feel like a lot of people don't realize how powerful it is to hold your ground and stay true and believe in stuff. Like a lot of people just be like, well, I want this opportunity. Okay. And then it makes you look bad. And it doesn't make the program director look bad. It makes you, because you're the one playing it.
Yeah.
They're like, what the fuck is Richard playing this R&B song at midnight? Like,
whack, then they're gonna play
people don't know the behind the scenes stuff. Yeah, the politics. But it's so powerful to like hold your ground, be like, yo, man, like, nah. And then at one point, I'm assuming it was an older gentleman, so he has to believe in what you are saying because you're the young guy in the demo.
No. Yeah, and it changed. The dynamics changed right after that. And then they started asking me which records they should add.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I started basically adding a record on Power 106 every week.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
They'd be like, what's your biggest record? I'd be like, Robin S., Show Me Love. All right, let's add this record. And I just started adding records. And another funny story is I went to this reggae shop because I got into like dance hall reggae that I would like to play like 2 songs before I would go on at the club and play all house. And I found this reggae and it just said Spanish reggae. And I went, ooh, reggae in Spanish? And it was El General. Boom, boom, boom.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
And I started dropping that in the club and people started screaming. So then I brought that to Power and they're like, this song's in Spanish. And I go, it's my biggest record. They go, but it's in Spanish. It's not, nobody's going to get it. And I said, just trust me. They added it within, I think, 5 days. It was the #1 requested record.
Wow.
Crazy.
That's a joint
Yeah.
too.
So I had a, so at that same time, when they were giving me my first 5 o'clock slot, I was going to start mixing at 5 o'clock. That's when they wanted to change my name. And so they
what
were
were you
like,
going by before?
I was just Richard Vision.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah,
that
I
was
Richard.
the first.
That was the first. And so he's like,
What is Vision your last name?
No, it's
so
actually.
that was already your nickname.
So Vision, okay. And when you're growing up in high school, you have a crew. Our crew was called Vision.
Got it. Okay,
So it'd be like, that's Richard from Vision. That's Mondo
It's
from
like
Vision.
ASAP.
Yeah.
ASAP Ferg, ASAP
Yeah, same
Yeah.
thing, same thing.
Got
So then they wanted to call me. He literally looked me in the eyes and go, how about if we call you Fab Five Freddy?
Whoa.
Now imagine,
way.
I'm just sitting there going, what are you talking about? But this is my first opportunity to mix prime time on Power 106. Like this is like 5 o'clock. This isn't mixing on Saturday
midnight.
nights or anything at midnight. And I was like, there's already a Fab Five Freddy. And he's like, yeah, but we're in LA. Nobody knows him.
Wow.
And I'm like,
crazy.
I'm like, all right, this guy is either out of touch or he's on crack or both. Right? So he's like, all right, well, come up. If you don't like that name, let's put something in between the Richard and Vision. And he's sitting there and he's going, Richard. And he goes, Richard Humpty Vision. Richard Humpty Vision. And I'm sitting there, and now, mind you, this is the first time I've been in this guy's office, just me and him, my first meeting. And as you know, your first meeting with a program director, where they're controlling everything, you're just man, don't say anything wrong. Don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up. And he goes, what do you think of it? And I said, I don't really know. And he goes, well, we can call you Richard Humpty Vision, or we don't have to call you at all.
Oh.
And I went,
what a dick.
And I went, Richard Humpty Vision sounds good. So I kind of back, even though
That's funny.
I was like, but he said something in this. He was right. He goes, trust me, when somebody hears this name, they'll never forget it.
Yeah.
I
And
love
he was
it,
right
man.
with that.
Yeah, he was right.
I've known that name since
It's
the
so
90s.
catchy.
But just imagine growing up with your boys.
Like it's sounds good altogether.
Yeah.
It's fun to say. It's catchy. You're right. You'll never forget it.
Yeah.
What year was this?
This is 91.
91.
So all of a
Richard
sudden, my
Humphrey.
name changed on the
Yeah.
radio. So then, like, you know, my friends are like, "Why are they calling you Humpty on the radio? That's weird."
One of us when
like your boys don't know.
Your
and you're
boys
like,
don't know.
They're like, "Did you come up with that nickname?" And I'm like, "No, I did not, man. It's just it is what it is."
I think because maybe Humpty.
Yeah, I was
Dumpty,
thinking the Humpty dance or
was-
something. That was
or
a-
Humpty dance.
Yeah,
Humpty dance.
he
or
must
something.
have got
Like
it from
in
somewhere.
91?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or what's the
Yeah.
little egg? The Humpty.
Oh, Humpty
You-
Dumpty.
No, I think
Humpty
it
Dumpty.
I think it was
had to
Humpty
do.
Dance,
Yeah, I think
man.
it had to do with Humpty. I don't think he was that innovative.
Okay.
So
He was trying to steal some rapper's name
Yeah,
or the
to
way
just-
he did the.
That's probably
Fat
like a
Five Freddy's
90s
with
radio
the other
thing, right?
hosts.
Because there was like, remember there was Dr. Dre. But
There
then there was
was.
Dr. Dre in New York on the radio.
Yeah.
But they
There
never
was.
changed the name. He kept it.
Yeah.
Dr. Dre and Ed Lover.
maybe somebody told him there wasn't a Dr. Dre on the West Coast.
Yeah, seriously. I feel like well, no. I want to. Who do you think was first? Because Dre's OG too.
Yeah. They were
Yeah.
around too.
All right, so now you're like, fuck it, I'm going with it, and then you get your 5 o'clock shot.
And that was that. I think that for me, that was the game changer, was because now I had prime time, and I
Who
set
was-
the precedent of being able to play whatever I wanted to play. So I would go on at 5 o'clock, do this 20-minute mega mix, and just play whatever I wanted to play.
Wow.
And
They
so
didn't
I-
make you follow any programming at the time?
No, not at all. But I knew, like, okay, I can't just play 20 minutes of unfamiliar stuff. So I figured out
Because
how
you're
to.
so used to dance floors anyway.
Yeah, so I figured out how to weave it in, but play the new stuff and then play some unfamiliar stuff. But
I think a lot of programming directors don't realize that we deal with dance floors anyway, and like our biggest fear is someone walking off the dance floor. So
Yeah, it's the worst.
when I first started on the radio, I had that same mentality. Like
Yeah.
you don't, even though I was following the programming to the T because I was new too. So my A's were like Alicia Keys, My Boo,
right.
like just non-mix
Yeah.
show
Yeah.
stuff, and like I would have to throw them in and then like find a way to get back into the groove, and it's just like, god damn. But yeah, like I would always be afraid to choose my recurrence. That's where we had kind of freedom and also a couple new records, but like you would know what's hot.
Yeah.
You would
Right.
know, like, all right, I know this works at the club, let's slide it in, and then you sandwich. It's all about like sandwiching shit. Like you get a new record or a hit, new record, recurrent. Like you never play a new record with a new record
Yeah.
or a new record even necessarily with the kind of familiar. It always has to be followed by a hit or a very powerful like recurrent, which was
See,
like a
I-
hit 6 months ago.
I
type
don't
shit.
think I thought in that terms.
That might be
I
newer
didn't-
programming.
Yeah, I didn't have those terms, play a recurrent.
Yeah.
I just programmed a mix. I would just do mixes that I thought were dope, but made sure I always came in with something that everybody knows to get everybody on the same page. I was not thinking of like, let's play some old records. Because I didn't, there wasn't that terminology for me
Yeah.
at that point. Like they didn't say, here's a recurrent list, here's this list. I
Because there
didn't.
probably wasn't many recurrents for you to play at the time. Like it was such an
you're
early
right, yeah.
era of like
Yeah.
a new genre where
Yeah.
like what's a recurrent to Show Me Love back then? Like,
Right.
You know what I mean?
No,
Like
you're right. You're
fucking
absolutely
Egyptian
right.
Lover.
Right. But I think also too they're also liking the fact that I was coming in with something new and something fresh, and it didn't sound
No,
like
for
anything
sure.
else. And
And it worked.
Yeah, it worked. That
Who was when you did your mix, who was hosting the show?
Joe the Boomer Cervantes?
Wow, I definitely remember
Yeah,
him.
he was the man on Fridays.
I'm guessing the
and-
PD gave him the nickname the Boomer.
Yes, he did. Absolutely.
Nowadays, Boomer,
Yeah.
is that the
guy,
name
bro,
you want?
I would love for him to give me a nickname just curious. Give me a boxer name.
A boxer name.
Yeah,
So,
seriously.
so at a certain
Eric the
point,
Glove Delatore.
at a certain point, I was able to drop the name when I felt in my career I didn't.
What year
need
did you
to-
drop the name?
Man, it was early 2000s. So I couldn't. I wanted to drop the name for the longest time, but I was putting out mix CDs. And when you put out mix CDs, you get a spot in Tower Records, Warehouse Records. You can't change your name.
No, you
wow.
have the thing.
Yeah, because your slot. Because all of a sudden they said, "Oh, if you're just gonna go by Richard Vision, then you're gonna have your next CD is gonna be over here." And the label would be like, "Well, nobody's gonna see your old CDs, so they were like, if you want to put out a mix CD, you have to put it out as Richard Humphrey Vision. So that kept the process a little longer until I was done with mix CDs.
Well,
was like,
what was the process of what year did you put out your first CD?
I think I put out an illegal mixtape called This Is a Test Volume 1.
Okay.
I think that was 92.
In stores or just kind of?
It was in mom and pop stores.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had met Bad Boy Bill in 91 or 92, and he was putting out mixed cassettes in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, so we started talking. I'm like, how do you do this? And he kind of...
How did you meet him?
He booked... I was in a group called The Movement.
Okay.
And we had this techno record called Jump. And he had booked up The Movement to perform at his club.
Dude, I was just in... It's funny. I was in Japan, and somehow Dre Sinatra. Do you know Dre Sinatra?
Yeah.
Somehow he was bringing up stuff, and he started showing me your guys' old music videos as The Movement.
Yeah. We actually, crazy. We got signed by Arista, Clyde Davis.
Wow.
It was like
OG.
It was OG flown out, not knowing what a major label was. So Bill had booked us up. We got done performing. He starts DJing, and I'm like, oh, shit. Here's somebody that mixes like me. Like, he's mixing quick. He's doing shit. I'm like, this guy's dope. And we just kind of exchanged numbers. I sent him one of my mixes, and he was like, oh, shit, you're kind of doing... And he was mixing on the radio. So he started kind of giving me the insight of how to put out a mixtape, because he had already done... I think he was on number 6 in his series at that point. So I put out This Is a Test 1, and I just put it out in record stores like the Exodus records, the mom and pop records. Yeah. And I put out This Is a Test 2, and then I put out my first legal one, I think was This Is My House, and that came out in 92 or 93.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what was the cover of This Is My House? Because I remember the covers of Richard Vision shit, bro. Like, I remember the yellow track pants with the Adidas and your
that
foot
was
on the...
Drop That Beat.
That was
This Is My House was, I think I'm wearing Oakley's. It's fucking terrible. And I got a
a goatee.
yeah, I got a goatee.
Handlebar.
Yeah.
Wait. So when you say a legal mixtape, is that like put out through a label?
Yeah, put out through a label and
Oh,
license
wow.
the songs. So this is funny. Me and Bill had I'm not bullshitting, a 1-week conversation for about a total of 50 hours on the phone, determining if we should try to do this legal, because once we did one legal, we could never go back.
There was no turning
There
back.
was no going back. So, we talked it. How do we do it? And I did the first one between us. And then and it was really great. And this is what, it's amazing that we still work together. And
because I'm assuming you don't get royalties from the legal ones.
Yeah,
Or did the label just give you guys a fee for doing the mix?
You get a fee and you get some, but what we did was we set up our own companies. So I didn't go through a label. I set up my own label and hired people to license the songs.
Oh, wow.
So it was like, back in those days, that's a $80,000 investment.
Yeah.
For a kid from East LA that doesn't have any money.
Yeah.
A lot of money. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, for sure.
So we both learned a lot of...
What was the label name?
What do we call it? It was VRG, I think. And I did VRG with Aqua Boogie, with my record, more of the music label side.
Yeah.
And that was a big learning curve, really learning business, learning contracts. You have to call up Strictly Rhythm. I want to license this song. Oh, give us a $2,000 advance. How about $500? We're only playing 36 seconds of it.
Wow.
It was a big learning curve in marketing and figuring out the whole thing. And so, and it was just me and Bill just kind of passing on this information to each other.
Wow.
And then we eventually, it's crazy because people would ask, well, how did you come up with House Connection? It was planned. Me and Bill were like, you do 2, I do 2, and then we'll do 1 together.
Wow.
So it was like in the works like 3 years before, 4 years.
Day one.
Yeah.
Damn. House Connection. That CD is so... I mean, obviously, that's the reason you guys just performed 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
On that stage, 30 years of Powertools. Because Bill was not part of Powertools.
Bill was he was one of the first guests on Power Tools that was not from Los Angeles.
Okay.
So we started Power
When did
Tools.
Yeah.
We actually started Power Tools in like 91. We called it the 30-year anniversary because I didn't want to come out and say, hey, 32-year anniversary, let's go. It just didn't sound sexy.
Yeah.
But he was one of our like first guests that wasn't from Los Angeles.
Okay. And damn, 91 was like when everything was happening for you.
Yeah. No, 91 was a year that I started mixing regular on the radio. I put out
how long after your first 5 o'clock slot till you started Power Tools?
It started around, I'm gonna say like 6 months after.
So yeah, quick.
So I went in with the idea for Power Tools to the regime that gave me the nickname Humpty, and I was like, hey, I have this idea. Why don't we do this show to play all house and techno? And the guy was like, that's a great idea. We're all being fired in 3 weeks. Tell the new people.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
And I couldn't what do you, he goes, we're all gone. And I didn't understand. I was like, I walked away going, I don't even know what that means. We're all gone. And sure enough, 3 weeks later, here comes in Rick Cummings.
Wow.
Woo. And I'm like, holy, they just wiped everybody out.
Was the first Power Emmis?
Yeah, it was
or
always
did it,
Emmis.
or did
always,
it flip out because Emmis bought it? You know how usually that's a new
Emmis,
company buys it and then they wipe clean house.
No, Emmis.
So they just fired the old staff.
So the ratings.
And he assumed you were going with them.
I didn't know what was happening. I just knew people weren't there anymore. And Rick Cummings just basically came in because it was a flagship station. And he came in to all right, let me understand what's going on with the station and then hire out.
Did he had previous radio background?
He always overlooked the programmer. He was programming president for MS.
Oh, okay, got it.
So it's like the head honcho. Instead of him just hiring somebody to replace him, he came in and got his hands dirty.
Got it.
And I think he started liking it for a while and probably stayed longer than what he had ever planned to. Mm-hmm. But it was just that important to him.
Man, he's a guy too.
Yeah.
Legend.
No, legend. And so I had my first conversation with him and he was like, all right, this sounds like a great idea. Let's start it this Saturday.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, all right, cool. Who's going to host it? And he's like, you.
Wow.
I'd never talked on the radio.
Wow.
Ever. Never wanted to talk on the radio.
That's kind of my story.
Never thought I should talk. I definitely didn't think I should talk on the radio.
Yeah. Same.
And I was like, well, he goes, who should host it? I said, let's get Joe Cervantes or somebody. He's like, does he know house and techno? I go, I don't know. Do you know house and techno? Yes. You host it.
Wow.
And that's how it started. And honestly, we started the show. I honestly thought, because I was like, when I listened to the first episode, I'm like, this is not going to last more than 6 months. Mm-hmm. There's no way, because we're playing all unfamiliar music that just came out that week.
What time was the slot?
The slot was 2 to 4.
Okay.
So I was
it's always been the same. I remember growing up, I was my first, I don't know if you remember, but me and Syph, when we first got a shot to try out, we tried out as DJs for 3 months. And I remember being kind of upset because years down the line, someone gets a tryout at 5 p.m. on a Monday. And I'm like, the fuck? I had to go on. So Syph and I would take turns for 3 months. One would go on after Power Tools and one would go on after Friday Night Flavors.
Oh, that's fucked
And we
up.
would rotate. So I would literally be in there.
Right.
I think Fluffy running the board.
Fluffy used to run the board.
Yeah, Fluffy run the board. Yeah. And luckily, Power Tools wasn't a live taping.
No.
Friday Night Flavors was.
Right.
And at night, you get everything's commercial breaks. So at night, no one's paying for that. So you would get 2 to 3 commercials.
Right.
And J-Rock would be in there setting up all his drop and taking his time. He hated us. He hated us. He would just look at us mad, you motherfuckers are gonna come on and play Alicia Keys, My Boo any fucking way.
Right.
And he would just take his time and and I would get on and Fluffy would have, or whoever, maybe Ernie for Friday Night Flavors, would have to hit a song from the system to give us a chance to set up because we were on vinyl. But he's setting up all shit. And Yeah, bro. And then coming in after Powertools, it was easier because we'd come in early and like practice.
Right, you had time to set up.
Because the mix room would be empty.
Yeah.
And that was like the best shit. But yeah, I remember. So it was always 2 to 4.
No, and then we moved. We started doing 12 to 4.
Okay.
When we started broadcasting live from the Dome.
Okay.
So we kind
What
of
year
moved
was this?
slots. I think we started broadcasting from the Dome in '94. Yeah, I think from like 94 to like 96, we were broadcasting live.
One of my biggest regrets, bro, is the Dome was before my time.
Right.
But one of my regrets is not going to the anniversary, the Born and Raised, the Dome.
Oh,
Yeah, that was
Rest
that-
in peace,
Yeah,
Sponto.
Yeah.
rest in peace, Sponto. I mean,
That was, man, I wish I was out of town and I was seeing everyone play. I was like, God damn, man, I wish I was there. Bro. I wish I just to get a t-shirt.
right. No, the energy was amazing inside that building. And it's still, which crazy, it's still the same owner to this day. Still
The same owner.
Same owner, same sound system, almostly.
You would think
since
like
the 80s.
Insomniac or someone bought
Yeah,
it.
right.
He will not sell.
Wow.
I get that's a whole podcast
Yeah.
on its own.
I love that though.
But I can just tell you, he has been offered life-changing money, will not sell.
Good for
Where
you.
is the Dome at?
The Avalon?
That's it.
Oh,
No, it's not at
Wait,
Avalon.
Avalon
Next
was-
to Avalon. Avalon's a dope
Wait, which
club.
one?
Florentine Gardens is right next to
Oh,
it.
okay. The Dome was at Florentine.
Yes.
Wait. Okay, I got confused. The one you said you were broadcasting from Avalon before.
No. Okay, no.
That was early
Yeah,
days.
yeah, that was
Okay.
early.
What was
Power
that
106.
called before Avalon?
It was called
Palace.
Avalon. It was called the Palace.
Okay,
yes,
okay.
Yes.
So the Palace and the Dome, I got confused.
Yes,
okay,
yes,
So
yes.
Florentine Garden, yeah,
Florentine
okay,
Gardens
okay,
was the
okay.
Dome.
Yes. Which is why makes sense why the anniversary was at
Yes,
Florentine.
yes, was at Florentine's.
Okay, okay.
And the owner, who is still the same owner today, he said something that was so profound to me. And I won't give. I don't want to give out the dollar amount that he's been offered for his. But it's
Life
it's
changing.
it's beyond kids.
oh wow, like
I
generation.
mean,
Yes.
it's because, bro, like, it's a massive space. It's in prime Hollywood.
Yep.
Like, so, like a Walmart can go there.
Anybody. So and he said something. He said if you were offered that amount and you could never work on music again, would you do it? And I was like, no.
Damn.
I would, because I love what I do so much. There's not a dollar amount on it. And he was like, I love having my own space in Hollywood, and he knows he can't get that again.
What was his name again? I remember
His name's Kenny McKenzie.
Yes.
And he's the same.
I met
he
him.
opened the club in the 80s. I rocked with him in the 90s. He's still around today.
Yeah.
It's
I
crazy.
met him.
It's crazy.
I remember I DJ'd at Florentine a couple times, and but my earlier memories, I never made it to the Dome, but I would go to the Edge. Do you remember the Edge?
No.
So the Edge was Power 106's hip hop party on a Thursday.
Oh, that's right.
And it was Vice,
Yes.
E-Man,
yes,
and
yes.
Echo.
Wow.
Yes.
And they would always bring in artists.
Right.
So I would go with Echo because he was like my early, like one of the early guys I knew, and I would come with him and like the Locks and Missy,
Right.
and all like just ill rapper
Yeah,
Busta.
yeah.
Everyone would be there performing on the Thursdays at the Edge.
and you
And I
could
was like,
anybody because it's a Power 106.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
were.
So
That
the-
access.
Bro,
anyone
they-
in town.
E-Man,
Yeah.
they were, especially back then, bro. Like the labels and the DJ and the artists, it was like, yo, it was such an insane relationship
Yeah, everyone
because
just worked
that
together.
was all you
Yeah.
had.
Right.
Radio.
Right.
There was no streaming. There was
Yeah.
no nothing. Like I need to be in with these guys that are playing shit because
Right.
like, so bro, every artist went to anything that
That's
a label
dope,
said
man.
they had to go to for this DJ, for that DJ, for that DJ.
That's dope.
So yeah, I remember those early days at the Florentine Gardens. Do they still operate now?
They still operate now, but not
private events and stuff, right?
Yeah, just more private events. It's not a regular place
Yeah.
that is open. So when we went, when we did the Dome anniversary, well, not anniversary, but we did that Dome night with Born and Raised.
Was that an anniversary party?
No, it
What
was
was it?
just
Just
a
a-
night. No, it was Sponto had reached out to me. Sponto and Sour Milk had reached out to me, and Sponto was like, "Hey man, let's do a party together." And we just kind of clicked, and me and him just all of a sudden started having these like 2-hour conversations on the phone, just about marketing and branding and life and stuff. And he eventually, he goes, "Hey," he called me up one day. He's like, "I know where I want to do the party at." And he goes, "Let's do it at Florentine Gardens." And I was like, no, that place, there's the sound system. It's old. I said, let's do it at Academy. Let's do it at all these other cool, or not even cool, but just more up-to-date places.
State of the art.
State of the art. There you go. And he was like, "No, we have to do it there for the culture. And it's important that we show the new generation this location because they'll never walk in those doors.
That's
and we
true,
also
man.
give the older generation a chance to walk back in those
dope.
doors."
That's dope.
And like, I was like, all right, let's
And I
do
know-
it.
And I know, not to cut you off, but I know like we've had a lot of conversations, you and I know you typically don't like to go backwards. Like you don't like reminiscing. You don't like, that's why you were like, get rid of this Humpty shit. This
Yeah.
is now,
I always like to look forward. But it was cool because I was doing it a twist with Born and Raised, with Sponto.
I'm telling you, man,
They had
looked
a different,
super cool.
Yeah, they had a different, look on it.
Yeah, for sure.
So it wasn't like I'm just going back and reminiscing. And it was a really, really special night walking into there. But like that night, we brought in sound, we brought in lights, we had to build VIP booths because they don't do bottle service.
Yeah.
So we had to build the club out.
Damn.
And it was an insane amount of work, but it was worth every.
They like shut the doors, right? Like it was like over capacity.
Oh yeah,
shit.
yeah. We turned away. I think we turned away like 2,500 people.
Oh shit, that's
Yeah.
a lot.
Yeah. It was a crazy night. So
Whose idea was it to call it the Dome?
it was him. It was Sponto.
So
Did
he's
you
like,
know
let's
him
do it.
prior?
Let's do it at
Yeah.
Florentine's and call it the Dome.
Yeah.
You
yeah.
knew him?
we could.
Did you know him prior to like before they reached out?
No, I didn't know Sponto. I was aware of Born and Raised.
Yeah.
But I didn't know Sponto personally.
Was
And
he going to the Dome when he was young?
Yeah.
No, he was too young.
Okay,
So that's
same-
why
same-
Yeah, how
for
do you-
him,
yeah.
for him, it was super exciting because
Yeah.
like I'd never been there, but I heard it on the radio.
Yeah.
So so he had different energy looking at
Yeah.
it, as opposed to me. I'm like, God, I'm going back to Florentine.
Yeah.
Probably
Gardens.
older
yeah.
siblings, like probably
like
went.
so the energy. But once he sold me on it, it was really dope, and we did some really cool marketing. And they even ran commercials on Power 106. He's like,
Damn.
we're gonna run $500. Just I'm like, why? Because we
You
are.
have to.
Yeah, we have to.
Who voiced it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh,
He had
so
me voice.
good.
This is how he sold me.
So good.
He goes, I need a 60-second thing for a voicemail because we're setting up a party line. I'm like, all right. So I did it for a party line. Oh, we're going to use that for the Power 106 commercial. I'm like, oh,
Dude,
this is
that's
amazing.
so
That's dope.
good. What was the bed?
I put like 3 songs. I don't remember what the songs were, but
Because bro,
Get a clip
Power
of it.
Power 106 had the most legendary nightclub spots because
Right.
you had the upbeat music.
Yep.
You had that voice, whoever was voicing it at the time, and then you would have like the ill tag at the end. Power 106 reminds you not to drink and drive. Bro, it's just like but it brings me joy.
Yeah,
God
yeah.
damn.
It was really, I mean, and I'll cherish, those times working with Sponto because just I learned so much from him, and he was just so like, he would tell me all the secrets of like Born and Raised.
Yeah, bro.
Like he'd be like, oh, we actually do this and this and this. And I was like, oh, I'm gonna apply that to certain things. And then he would pump me up. He would be like, bro, you understand that you kind of are a genius at branding. And I go, I don't know. I'm not a genius. He goes, is Powertools still around? How many brands have been around for this many years? And I never looked at it that way.
Yeah.
Bro,
And
I'll tell you.
and he was like,
I've told you, like, bro, just everything you have always done is legit, like, legendary. Like, it's not, it doesn't, I don't see like, nah, this shit is old. Like, even like the Powertools logo. I remember asking you, like, bro, I need a Powertools shirt with the logo, because I think at one point you were trying to change it.
Oh, we changed the logo for years.
But it's like, man.
And then I brought it. Honestly, it really came back with that night that we did with Born and Raised. Because Sponto was like, yo, let's use the original logo. And it just started coming back. And I was like, you know what? There's something magic about that logo. It's so raw and so wrong. And like my boy like did it in like 91. It's just, and then I was like, all right, there's something about having a dope brand, and you could change things around it, but some things should stay iconic.
It's like the Bad Boy logo.
Yeah.
So Def logo.
Right.
Like, these are just cartoon characters someone drew.
Yep.
Right.
And like,
100%.
they're not great drawings, but they're in such good logos. Like, you just don't forget them.
They captured a time
and Powertools has that. Like, Powertools has that logo where, like, if I had like a Coach jacket, I would want that shit on the back.
Right. And
which we should make some. I think
some
I
right
pressed
now.
shirts for you one time.
Yeah,
when we had the
no,
printer
you
here.
did. You did for when we were doing during COVID.
Yeah, and then you
Yeah,
brought
yeah,
me like
yeah.
some wine
Yes.
in exchange.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I remember that.
But you know, and it's crazy that, you know, that event was amazing, and then we had the opportunity, of course, to do the 30-year anniversary, which was, honestly, it was the city that just approached me. It was a city and a company called We Are Happy, and they're like, yo, the city's doing a series of concerts, and they want to do a Powertools thing. And I was actually going to do the Powertools 30-year anniversary at a club. And I was like, well, I kind of have this concept. And they're like, yes, we want to go all in. And I was, give us a budget, your dream lineup. And so, you know, we put together something. And then I hit Bill, and I was like, yo, Bill, are you down to do this? He's like, we got to do something different. Let's do a back-to-back set. And I was like, all right. I go, you know what that entails? Because when me and Bill work together, like, people don't realize
connection.
that set, we probably worked on that set for about 2 weeks.
Wow.
It was a lot of hours. Work.
So I'll tell you a story. I was on the couch. I was in Vegas the night before. I was on the couch, and I was aware of this party, and I wanted to go, but I was so tired. I drank more than I wanted to, because
that's what you do.
No, Four Color. I told this story. Four Color Zach. I was like trying to stay sober this night. He shows up. Ended up with a minor hangover. Nothing too crazy, but like enough to be tired.
Right.
I'm on the couch, and I'm talking to Izzo, which you met that night, and we're like, should we go? I don't know. I'm kind of tired. I'm kind of down, but kind of tired. And then, like, literally, I saw the flyer, and I saw you guys were on at 8:30, which is all I cared to see. And I was like, it's like 7. I was like, fuck it. I can show you the text. Fuck it. Let's go. So we went. I got ready, drove. He has a studio in downtown. So we met there, and then we took an Uber to the venue. And I was in the Uber, and I was like, man, I wonder what the set's going to be like, because, like, I know Richard doesn't like playing, like, older shit. I'm curious to hear. And, bro, when I got – and you guys did such a good job where it was both.
Right.
Like, it was nostalgic and new. Like, even, like, a new version of – even if it's, like, Show Me Love, for example, or something, you know, like – it was so well done, bro. I was literally – I got videos of this shit.
No, you look lit.
It was, you know, we wanted to do a 30-year perspective mix. So we were like, all right, let's pick out our favorite songs, like the late 80s, the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, and some of our favorite songs that are out today. And kind of figure out a way of how to make it not like, oh, they're just doing classics and now they're just doing new, and now it was like, well, how do we blend this all as one and make it seamless? And that took a lot of time. I was
hoping to hear Tetris at least.
There was only a few, you know, the Hard House records. I mean, there's only like Tetris is maybe one of them.
Yeah,
honestly, I only like 5.
What's your thought of that whole Hard House? Because when I started DJing '98, that Hard House era was like the biggest shit. And where I grew up, I was like, I loved hip hop, but I was playing all the local parties in Wilmington, here, there. So I was collecting all the hard house, like I was even like progressive shit
Right.
was coming in imports, but I was buying everything. But it was at one point, bro, where I loved the like hard house and that UC and like even like later like the abstract records were putting shit like Mark V, Poogie Bear went later to abstract, and everything they put out was just insane. So what's your thoughts on that era? Because I feel like I didn't. You were when I was getting into hard house, you were already onto the next.
Yes,
shit.
I was onto the. I bailed on hard house. I'm going to say sooner than most people, because I started touring around the United States and going to other countries, and I started realizing, all right, this hard house stuff is really in LA, Chicago, maybe some Texas. Like it was pockets, and it wasn't. And I started seeing like regular house was more global, and not that I dislike hard house, but a lot of it was produced. Like if you go back and listen to it,
no, I did.
It's out of key. Everything's out of key.
No, not only is out of key, it's distorted, and it's 180 BPMs.
Yeah. So
this shit is crazy.
There's a couple of records that did come out that I did like. Like I like Pullover by Speedy J. I think that's cool. There's the stuff that CZR was doing was always in key and just really dope. So there were some records that I do like, but like when we're going back through the, like what songs are we going to play? We're like, I'm not going to play a record that's out of key. Like this is just not right. It just doesn't.
You never got into hard house, huh, Five?
No.
Yeah, Five was like the backpacker.
I was super backpack.
Yeah, so. He was cool. He missed that.
Yeah, good for you.
He missed that. But what I did like about one thing that the hard house did do, it created an energy that first there was techno, and then there was a void of that energy, and hard house filled that void, that techno.
It sounds very techno-y,
yeah. It was inspired by techno, and there's stuff that Dance Works did back in the day. So we had, when me and Bill were like, which hard house records are we gonna play, we had like a folder of 20 that we both said, okay, we can, these are not out of key or anything.
Which ones did you end up playing? Remind me.
I think we played Groove to the Beat. We played Pants Are Sagging.
Oh yeah,
that was a good. That's a good record.
Did you guys didn't play This Is Los Angeles?
No. I played that last time.
Okay.
And I think we played the Speedy J Pullover. And so we try to
you did a good job. I was like very satisfied with getting a taste of it.
We wanted to give you a taste. We wanted to give a taste of some of the classics. And then we wanted to there's a couple of records that I don't think people saw coming, like Creep. There's this whole era of house music from 2000 to about 2006 that really didn't get any radio play, that are some of the dopest records that have come out in house music.
Some of my favorite records I think fall in that era were like what's that Armin van Halen record?
He had so many.
Hold on. There was one where it was like, by the way, speaking of during the pandemic, my streams, people would know me to play one record, and I would play it all the time, and it made me very happy, and it made people very happy. Oh, yeah. And it was your record, All Right. And I think I texted you this.
Yeah, you did. And then you had,
bro.
You had people like hitting me like, bring that record back, bring that record back.
Bro, it's such a great message. Great, like it's just a great top line, great beat. Everything about it still sounds so good today, bro.
You want to know something fun? When I did that record, I couldn't even play it out.
Why was that?
It was just too mellow. I was like, at that point in time where music was out, I wanted to do that was my version of a real house record. And like I could it wasn't a big record when it came out. Like I had other records that I had put out that were like big records for me. That was like probably my least at the time response single that I've ever put out.
So listening to it today, it kind of has that same vibe as the
kind of like World Hold On, kind of like
yeah, and
it's
that
like-
kind of
yeah.
that feel good,
Yeah.
inspiring, uplifting type of message,
Yeah.
but with the good beat.
Yeah, with Devin A killed the vocals. I mean, and now it's a trip. It's bigger today than back then by far.
What's the other record I'm thinking of, man? God
Armand, you're probably thinking of
Someone recently redid a version of it too.
Oh, Ma P did. What's one did he do of Armand? It just came out like 2 weeks ago. Armand has so many songs. I mean,
know.
it'll
come
And
to
the
me.
styles like changed too. Like
Yeah, he's one person that has been able to transcend times, and right now, I mean, the music he's putting out is hot.
Was All Right on the same album as Shut the Fuck Up and Dance?
Yes.
I want
No,
you.
no. It was on Damn That DJ Made My Day.
Okay. Which one was All Right? Or
Yeah, All Right.
Okay. So what was the one that's stuck from that album? If it wasn't All Right.
My singles, I put out. I did a remake with Rosala of Everybody's Free.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
That
Massive.
Yeah, that did pretty massive.
Is that the one that got you? Didn't you get a Grammy? Or that was a Madonna?
No, the Madonna remix is where I got nominated for a Grammy.
Yeah, I remember
that. That was down the line.
So
I
Ma
remember.
P did the I Want Your Soul.
I
That's
Want
not the
Your
one you're
Soul.
talking about though.
no,
That's not the one I'm talking about. Fuck.
no. He's thinking. I think you're thinking.
Every time I hear Funk
afterwards.
Phenomenon,
It
I
was
think
like
of Power
in that
106.
era you're talking about from
Yeah.
the 2000
Is it the one with the
2006.
rapper from the UK?
It didn't have a rapper.
No.
You'll need to continue on your personal device.
I like that.
Yeah.
2000s.
Oh, okay. I'm tripping. I'm thinking You Don't Know Me, but that's
Okay.
98.
Oh, yeah.
That's
No,
98.
okay.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
that to
yeah.
me, like that. Oh my god, I love that song.
But yeah,
Okay, 98.
Well, that's why I had because we had never ever had Dwayne Harding out in LA that I knew of. So when we put together the anniversary party, I was like, all right, I want somebody to perform from the 90s that I couldn't remember. And right when I hit Dwayne, he was in, because that song "You Don't Know Me" is iconic. It's
Oh, he performed that.
Yeah.
See, I missed it.
you missed
Fuck.
that, and then we had
Damn.
Luciana perform.
I
Oh
saw
yeah.
And
so-
That was a
Luciana's your
banger.
artist, or was? At
Yeah,
one
well,
point?
not my artist, but an
But you worked
artist.
with her a lot.
Yeah, we did. I Like That together.
Yeah.
We used to
we've
bang that in Vegas.
Yeah,
That's a great
we
one.
continue
Yeah.
to put
That's
out
still
records.
that could still work. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I like that still.
I
The
like
her
that.
vocal still goes down. I put that a cappella over stuff all the time. But let me just tell you, this anniversary party though is like at that level. I've never co-produced a party at that level. It's one thing, do it in a club, and you kind of know it's a lot easier, and you're dealing with 1,000 people or 1,200 people, but trying to put together an event for
Man.
6,000 people, I will tell you that was the most work I've ever put into one thing, probably in my career.
Wow.
It was that much work of that much detail of having to overlook everything.
What did you guys have? Because I know the city has that stage already.
Yeah.
Did you guys add stuff to the stage?
Yes, they didn't have that light show. We had to have them
Ah.
bring in extra sound. I had meetings for the lights because they were more set up, geared to artists performing concerts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So I had to we have to bring in flashes. We have to bring in this, meeting after meeting. And finally the guy was like, oh, you want it to look like a rave. And I'm like, you mean I could have said this 2
Yeah,
meetings
why did
ago?
you just say it so?
Yeah. You want some, okay, we'll put
We got
some
all that in
lasers.
storage.
Yeah, he's
Some
like, oh, we'll bring some
cryo.
lasers, we'll bring this, we'll bring that. So, but just the promotion, how many artists we had that day.
Man, that
and
was awesome,
man, I
bro.
want to thank all the artists that played, from Robbie Rivera to Angie V to Tony B. I mean, just
Tony B is a
yeah,
legend.
Sabrasuda Boys. We also brought in the new generation, which I thought was very cool, with the Hideout guys and the Sabrasuda Boys. And it was just, and it all came
David
together.
Delano, I was nice
Yeah,
to see him.
Delano, Swedish Eagle, who hasn't.
Oh, shit.
I don't
Crystal.
think. Yeah, Crystal, Swedish Eagle. I don't think has DJ'd in like 2 years in LA playing house music.
When did
So-
he come into Powertools?
I think he came in late 90s, early 2000s.
Okay.
Because I was co-hosting. I started off co-hosting myself. Then I brought in Tony B. Me and Tony B rocked for about 6 to 8 years. And then Swedish Eagle came in and rocked with us for like 16, 17, 18 years.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, and for a while, Swedish Eagle became the voice of Powertools.
Yeah.
Because his voice was so dope, it'd be like, let him interview people.
DJ Koki still has the most legendary Swedish Eagle drop.
Does he?
And he plays it to this day. Just
No way.
DJ Koki, pump it out.
That's funny.
dope.
It's so good. Pump it out.
Yeah.
DJ Koki, pump it out.
But what's crazy now is that, you know, now we're on Sirius XM, and right now we're reaching a whole new audience.
Yeah.
Because you got to remember, Power Tools was an LA-based thing.
It's not on Power anymore?
No, it hasn't been on Power for like 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
And was there a gap? Did you
we
bring it
we were
back?
on other states, so I started syndicating the show. So when it left Power, it was still in San Francisco. It was like in like 10 different markets. And then we started putting it, and this is when I knew the future. We started putting it on as a podcast through
Yeah.
Podomatic.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, the guys were like, you know, shout out to Crystal. It was like, yo, let's put it as a podcast. I was like, do whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
And then he would like show me the numbers. I'd be like, 40,000 people downloaded this?
Wow.
Like, it was like, oh, okay, this is where future is at. And
Well, 30 people will download this one.
right, well, there you
32.
go. There you
32
go.
people.
That's all that
We're
matters.
growing.
And then,
Damn, that's awesome, bro.
That's
yeah,
dope,
no,
man.
seeing that. So
Congrats.
then when the Sirius XM opportunity came up,
What channel are you guys on there?
we're on a Pitbull station.
Okay,
Channel
Globalization.
13. So I was like, I still didn't, you know, I love Sirius XM, but I didn't have Sirius XM in the car to
Yes.
like really. So then I got Sirius XM and I listened to it for about 3 weeks, and I was like, all right, this is the future of radio.
Yeah.
Like, this is like, I'm listening to dance stations. There's no commercials.
Mm-hmm.
There's no 12,
Nope.
12 minutes of commercials that you
Nothing.
got to deal with. And I was like, oh, shit.
We're so used to like, I'm so brainwashed when it comes to like a lot of the way I think when it comes to like radio and
Yeah.
like whether it's doing a podcast, like even with the podcast, like when there's like silence, I think dead air and I think it's bad.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I listen to
Right.
podcasts all day long and it's
Right.
like totally fine.
Right.
Yeah.
But like my brain is so, like I'm so brainwashed by it.
You have to rethink it all. And that's why.
You're thinking 30 seconds, boom, hit the post, do.
Yeah.
None of that shit matters
And
when
then-
you do Sirius, because you know we have a show on
Yeah.
Sirius.
Oh, right. You guys on Diplo's channel,
We're
right?
on
Yeah.
Diplo's.
Yeah.
If you would love
Yeah.
to do a set,
Yeah.
we would
Oh,
love
yeah,
to have
that'd
you.
be dope.
So it was just like having that energy and seeing them, like, you know, even Diplo's channel and BPM and Globalization, and seeing them add new records that week that's on an independent label. I'm like, all right, this is the future. They're
Yeah.
not
Oh,
not
yeah.
going, oh, the major labels say we need to add this. It's gone back to where radio used to be.
We'll take a risk.
Yeah,
Take a
where they're
chance on
like,
something.
no, it's just, is it a hot record? Let's add it.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
Not that's like, and so that energy.
Because I think there's less downside when it comes to Sirius versus traditional radio, in a sense of like Sirius XM is subscription.
Yeah.
So like they already got your money.
Yep.
If you're
Yeah.
listening, they got your money.
Yeah.
Radio, if you tune out, you go somewhere else, it's kind of like, you know, the whole rating system. I don't even know how I don't understand the PPM. I don't understand
Right,
any of that
right,
shit anyway.
right.
But like, I know with Sirius, they're like, dude, even with us, when they gave us a show, we're on probably 6 years now, year
Right,
6.
right.
And he's like, do whatever you want.
Yeah.
Like, we can do
But
whatever we
see,
want,
they
say whatever
trust
we
you.
want.
Yeah, but they trust you. They
Yeah.
hire people that they can trust with high quality content.
Yeah.
They know you're not going to do something that's going to mess up your brand. They trust you guys as DJs. And
We're not going to go play all of our cousins'
Yeah,
new
no,
music.
no. And just being there and now utilizing, like, seeing, like, I think Power Tools at this day and point globally it's bigger than it's ever been because we're now I have people like Blondish coming on, John Summit coming on. So they want to come in and do like we're doing full on interviews.
That's awesome.
And you guys have been to the Hollywood studios, right?
Yeah.
I've never been.
Oh,
No, he's been.
We went. Yeah.
state of the art.
Yeah, it's dope.
State like it makes traditional radio like
Look like small market shit.
We should utilize that more. Actually,
it's no
I know.
seriously. They have like 8 cameras to
Yeah.
it's just state of the art stuff. The screens behind you, and it's not a knock on traditional radio.
No,
I'm
for
just saying
sure.
they're just at
Yeah,
a
no,
state
for
of the art level to where like I can interview somebody at the New York, studios, or they can come in here, or it's just, the talent that we're attracting now, it's just, and the resources. Now I have resources behind me to like, hey, whatever you want to do with Powertools, we believe in this. We'll
Yeah.
put resources behind it. When before you've never had resources.
No, never.
So
you'd have to make your own.
yeah, so
When does it run?
it runs every Saturday at 8 p.m.
Okay,
Nice.
and then are you still syndicating on other?
No,
So that's completely off traditional radio.
It's completely off. But what we do is we put it up for podcast 4 days
yeah.
later.
Same with ours.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
we do the same
Yeah.
thing.
So we get you guys get the best of both worlds.
And I'm surprised at some of the numbers the downloads get on the
Right.
recap show. Not even a recap, just when we post it to wherever we
Yeah.
post it. I think we even do like Mixcloud and
Mixcloud
gets,
and
gets a couple thousand hits.
Yeah, that's
Which is great for us. We're like,
Yeah.
oh shit, okay.
That's-
Just for Mixcloud too, because Mixcloud's a little tricky. You can't rewind it. There's a lot of like things.
Yeah, you
that
got
are
paid
wrong
to
with it.
rewind.
You gotta-
Really?
Yeah,
Something like
it's
that.
really
Oh, yeah.
interesting. That's why I like to see even views there. I'm like, well, that's good because I know there's a lot of flaws to this platform.
right.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, Mixcloud, holla at us. Let's fix it
Or you could put it through Podomatic and they put it
on all of them.
Yeah. on all
So
of
what's the like to put your podcast like on Spotify with the music? Is it fine?
I don't think it can go on Spotify. I don't think Spotify allows music podcast anymore, but Apple Music does.
Yeah.
And Apple, will it be on the Apple Music app or is it on their podcast app?
It's on the podcast.
It's on the podcast.
Okay,
app.
got
Yeah.
it. Got it.
Yeah.
Man, that's fucking amazing, bro.
Yeah. So it's still, it's still.
By the way,
it's still
Richard is the first DJ I've ever seen paint his nails, and now it's like today's like trend.
Oh, yeah, so-
I see everyone. Diplo paints his nails.
Did I start a trend? I don't
You've
know
been-
if I started
dude,
a trend.
I
It
remember
actually
the
started
first
off
time
as
I
a
saw
bet. It started
No
off as
way.
a bet.
Because this is like 90s, right?
Yeah. My boy betted me. I think it was like a $30 bet that I wouldn't paint my fingernails. I don't know why, and I did it, and it was just a bet, and I had to keep it for 2 weeks. And I went in. I can't even remember. I think I had them all blue, and I went into the place. I'm like, "Yeah, can you take this off?" And she's like, "It looks so good, though. Maybe you change the color." And I was like, "No, take this off." And she goes, "Let me try black." And she put black on, and I was like, "All right, I'll rock with this." And it just stuck.
Yeah.
No, even when I saw it, like black
Right.
nails wasn't weird to me. It's just like goth, right? Like goth.
Right.
But you were the first DJ that I saw, because I would see like goth people do it. It's not a big deal.
No, it's not.
But the DJ wise, you were the first.
Someone had yellow nails like recently. I'm like, all right,
Yeah,
you go.
a lot of people do it. I couldn't do it, but like
You can't just do. I'm
Just do it.
telling you.
I get the gloss. I
I'm
get
tell-
the
yeah,
the
I'm-
shiny buff when I
if
go
you
get my
do
nails.
it, just you'll be like, first week you'll be like, "What the hell is this?" And then after that, you're gonna want to keep it on.
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Even the
I'm trying
rappers
to-
are doing it now too. so-
Yeah, Drake has like smiley faces or something on his shit.
ASAP.
Yeah.
Dope.
I'm
Yeah.
trying to think of the first time I saw you play live. It was definitely an event Gumby threw. Frank Cortez, he doesn't like Gumby either.
Yeah. It was
Come
probably a diva thing.
It was. I didn't get to see you live on vinyl. It was when you were on CDs.
Mm-hmm.
And
Thank God
I
you
was
didn't see me on
no,
vinyl.
but the crazy thing is we were all on vinyl. So
Right.
I'm like, how the like I didn't understand the process of like why would he want to be on CDs? Like vinyl's the shit. This is
Yeah.
DJ shit.
Right.
And then this wasn't even CDJs. I don't think it
Right,
was
yeah.
like real CD players.
So you just got the
Like
Denon?
Denon-
No,
Probably
no. It wasn't Denon. It was the Pioneer.
Pioneer.
CDJs.
it was,
Yeah,
but it
was the
wasn't what
first-
they are today.
No. It just had a
But-
pitch control. Yeah.
Oh, fuck, where was it,
Yeah.
man? It was. I don't. Do you remember?
No, I don't remember the first
Because I didn't
time you
know.
saw me.
I didn't know you yet, and I was
If
like,
it was a
damn.
Gumby did these parties. We used to do a night called Diva. He continued the tradition on 3-day weekends, and that had to probably be one of his
It might have been
Diva
Diva
parties.
Yeah, it might have been Diva.
Because I only played at Red Cup once in my life.
No, it was Diva.
Yeah, it had to be.
I already
one of
knew
his-
you
yeah.
when Red Cup started.
Yeah.
It must have been Diva, and I remember
Yeah.
like seeing how fast you were mixing. I was like blown away, bro. Like you were like, because you had the CDs behind you, and you were
Right.
like bouncing and rocking, boop, boop, doop, going through your shit, doop, boop, 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 boop. And I was like, oh my god, this guy's
You
insane.
got to take the CD out, put it in. What a drag.
And you were doing that just as fast on
Right.
vinyl. I've seen
Right.
videos and shit too.
God,
what's
the
your
technology now? Just
now, right?
Just switch, boom.
On the 3000s.
Yeah.
We're even actually slowly transitioning to
Yeah.
using USBs.
It's incredible.
Oh, that's crazy.
Gonna ditch the laptop.
I can't. I'm going to tell you right now, and I try to tell this to my wife. If you put a laptop in front of me and told me to DJ, I've
Yeah.
never done it. I don't even know the first step. It blows my mind that you guys can think that way, because there's so many other things you have to think about while you're DJing, and you just put a laptop in the mix, and you guys do it so seamlessly, like boom, and you're playing the record. To me, that blows me away. Like
It's just the easiest way to get
USB.
around with like searching
Yeah.
and
not
because our clubs is like super open format. Like
Right.
you never know what you're
Yeah,
gonna get.
bottle
Right.
service.
So we can get thrown off by someone buying a bottle that needs to
Right.
hear something that we're completely not
Yeah.
Right.
ready to play. And it's just the easiest way to go in
no,
there.
you can
totally.
download on the spot too.
Yeah.
Download on the spot. A lot of downloads on the
Yeah.
spot.
Wow, that's crazy. So my simple way, I normally for a set, I'll spend about 6 to 8 hours getting my folder together, and I'll put a second folder. I have one folder that's my set,
Yeah.
and it's about, I'm gonna say 80 to 90 songs. Let's just say 90.
Yeah.
And then I have an acapella folder, and then I have a folder called "You're Fucked." That means it's like the most commercial shit. So
You have to
You
go
have
there.
to go into
yeah,
that.
but
one.
I
You're
have to
fucked.
go into that folder. But then lately, I've been like, no, I don't need to bring. I've never had to go into the folder.
No, you're
yeah.
too.
But I
you're
feel
past
like
being fucked.
I
No
feel
one's gonna
like-
request songs from you.
Yeah,
you're
but no,
past
I
being
feel
fucked.
like for a long time I needed to have that. Hey, just in case, play this record because like the dance floor is
Yeah.
gone. But yeah,
Did you ever have a moment in your career where you were just like over it and over DJing clubs, doing the road, and just thought about like what else can I do? Did you ever have that moment?
100%. People don't realize. Just recently in my career, I didn't put out a dance record for 4 to 5 years. It wasn't until last year I started putting out dance records. I jumped into the whole pop production thing, and I was doing stuff with Will.i.am and Britney Spears and all the pop labels and placements in Australia. And it was because it was a number of reasons. The EDM stuff started getting to a point where I didn't love it anymore. I liked it, but I didn't love it. So I was like,
Is this
"Man."
when it got like gimmicky, like all these artists and like things started?
Yes, it started getting gimmicky and it started getting very poppy. It started getting where a lot of
Like
people,
Nicki Minaj on a record.
yeah, and just artists that were putting out really dope records were now trying to make a radio record.
Yeah.
And it just, everything got watered down because everybody was chasing that radio hit. And at the time I was also burnt out from touring because I was like, man, if I go back to Denver for the 50th time, is this going to be exciting?
Yeah.
So
And also like what can it really do to move my career forward? Like some of these other markets that you've done over and
Yeah.
over,
Yeah.
and it's just for a check.
Just a
and
quick
you
check.
get to a point where like, man, like, do I really need to go here?
yeah, and it was more of a challenge that I wanted to learn other stuff. So I dove into, pop production.
And you were,
but I was learning.
You were developing artists too.
Yeah, no, I was developing artists, signing artists, but I was learning their craft and watching great writers come in and be like, yo, this is where we're going to put the chorus. This is what, like, I was going back to school and I was just like learning again. And that was an exciting 4 to 5 years because I was learning every day, as opposed to right before that. I don't think I was learning and growing. It was more like, oh, what else can we do? What else can we do? And that was a really exciting period for me. And then the EDM thing kind of came to an end. But at the same time, radio was no longer a factor in dance music. And you guys probably realize this, but this is the first time a generation of dance music is coming out that is not predicated on radio.
Yeah.
So it's just pure. So everybody's back to that space of, I'm just going to make a dope record because I love this and I want to play this out. And that was the same spirit in the early 90s. Nobody was trying to make a radio record. And so I fell back in love with dance music again. And it was like, it just pulled me back in. And, you know, and during COVID, I started seeing all these records come out. I'm like, this record's dope. And I'm like, you know, this record that Sid is putting out is dope.
Yeah.
This record, like, and now, like, I'm like a kid in the candy store again. Like, I listen to like about anywhere from 150 to 200 new records a week for Powertools.
Wow.
Oh shit.
Like, I'm excited because I'm listening as a fan. Like, oh, this is dope. I want to play this. And now what's really cool, and you guys probably realize this, is like they're sending out promos like 3 or 4 weeks before they even come out. So I'm like, oh, I get to play this 3 weeks before it comes out. Like, there's an excitement again in dance music.
The way it used to be.
Yeah, there's that same energy of like just dope artists making records for the dance floor. And you see them also streaming well, you know, and that's what's really dope too. And it's like, it's pure because nobody's going, oh, I got this radio smash.
Well, there's
that's been eliminated.
I feel like there's a big young generation of people that pride in digging and finding something, even on SoundCloud and like
YouTube, SoundCloud.
They don't want popular shit.
Dead.
Right? No, I agree. There's people that are like the new generation, which is great for them. Is like they think house music started with like Daft Punk. And that's kind of like their starting point. And so they have a certain energy that they're bringing to the party, which I think is really, really dope. And these young, you know, the young producers that are producing are like, they're doing some of the dopest music I've heard in a while. But you're also seeing like people that came up when I came up putting out like Armand Van Helden is killing it right now. You've seen people
Are they still doing Duck Sauce?
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
They
brought
I
it
think
back.
they're working on something right now.
Yes.
Him and A-Track.
Yeah, him and A-Track. I mean, those guys have always been killing it, but it's just dope to see the veterans still doing stuff, and everybody's on the same page. We're all on the same frequency again,
And the young
and
kids-
it's back to house and techno.
And the younger guys are remaking all the classics.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned that.
and that's
You
what's
Don't Know
dope
Me.
too,
Someone
because
redid it
and they're
recently.
putting a flip on it because like, oh, I've never heard this in the club, so they don't even remember being in the club.
Yeah.
They just like it as a dope record, so they do their flip on it, and it's pretty dope right now. Where house music and techno's at right now.
So are we getting a new house connection?
Actually, we're gonna put out we recorded the mix that we did.
Oh, okay.
nice.
So you're going to put that out?
Yeah, we're gonna
Nice.
put that out.
Nice.
Dope.
What about some original production
Oh,
from
yeah,
you two?
I don't know if we'll put out another single together. He has a couple of singles coming out. I have a single coming out on House Trap September 22nd called Dance Your Ass Off. I have about 3 other singles that are coming out, a couple on Soulmatic. So I have like 4 singles for the rest of the year coming
Dope.
out.
Was Bad Boy Bill a hip hop DJ first? Because the way he's scrapped, I was like, this
Yeah,
guy
he was in the DMCs.
He
back
was,
in
yeah,
the
he
day.
was like the
I remember
first.
that.
I obviously was aware of him as a house DJ, and he was the first house DJ I heard like scratching. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, this is.
No, I think he started off battle style. He was into hip hop and graffiti and stuff like that. But being in Chicago, that's, you know, the home of house music. They were, of course, onto house music way before we were in LA.
Yeah.
So he brought that battle style. And there was other guys that were scratching to house music, but back then, in my opinion, he perfected
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
Chicago has some
yeah.
dope like
Oh no! To be in Chicago back then, you had to be a dope DJ. There was
house
no,
DJs were cutting like what was that guy Pumpin' Pete
Yeah,
from
there's
Chicago?
Pumpin' Pete. There was Julian Jumpin' Perez. They were all doing very aggressive hip hop type of tricks, and you had to be like the quality of DJs in Chicago, in my opinion, at that point in time in the '90s. They were ahead of everybody in the quality
no, for sure.
of DJs. Where New York, they were more of like, I'm gonna blend these two records for 2 minutes, and you don't even know I'm into the next record type of vibe. And then in LA, we were kind of the mix of New York and Chicago. But man, in LA, the quality of DJs weren't as sophisticated as the quality in Chicago. It took a little while for us to finally, everybody get on that page, because mixing vinyl back then, you can't just walk up and mix vinyl.
Yeah.
But there were some DJs that were trying to just walk up and mix vinyl.
The cool thing about buying house records was like, especially for me, I was not familiar with a lot of the names.
Right.
So I would have to go to Beat Nonstop or
Right.
DMC on Melrose or Street Sound or like just
Yeah.
any of these record stores and sit there, or even like Exodus and World Records and Norwalk Records. There's all these
We
spots.
all
and
did
and
that.
we would
Yeah.
have to listen. I would, and with hip hop, you just know what you want. Oh
Right.
shit, they got the new Snoop song, the Dog Pound. All right, here we
Right,
go. I want this, I
right,
want
right.
that. But house, you would have to sit there and like,
Because there'd be so
listen,
many
listen.
new producers and new records that would come out every week. I mean,
But it made it fun.
going to the record store was like, it was my funnest time. I always had like, I would have no money in the bank, but I would take $100 and buy 10 imports.
What was your favorite record store growing up?
Exodus was the one for me. Exodus, shout out to Bert. That was the place that I think we connected on styles, and he would order records that he thought I would like.
Where was
And that
Exodus
cool.
again? I've been there, but I don't
Exodus
remember.
was in Montebello, right by the
Montebello.
Montebello Town Center.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, DMCs and Street Sounds and Beat Nonstop, they were all dope.
The reason I like those was it was like you just get to this street and you
You
got
go to three,
options.
right.
Yeah,
right.
because
That'd
if you
be
go to
smooth over
Montebello,
there,
like,
yeah.
all right, you go to Montebello.
Yeah, you're stuck out there.
And then you might have to drive to Whittier or
But like,
I don't know where
that's-
Montebello is.
Montebello is like, is that
South
off the
Bay?
60?
Yeah, up to
South Bay?
60.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
But but back then there was kind of like a mafia. I won't say a mafia, but a record store would only order 10 copies of
Right.
something. And so they would be like,
All spoken for.
yeah, I'm going to put these 9 aside for my boys, for these people that come in on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So I would come in and maybe I wasn't getting the best records that were
I worked at a
available.
record store. I know.
Yeah, yeah.
Same.
As opposed to at Exodus, he would put those records aside
Oh,
for
for
me.
you. Yeah. So you
and
were in.
Exodus is responsible for a couple of like huge fucking monster records. Like he was like, bro, I only ordered one of these, but I think you're gonna like it. And it was fucking Pump Panel.
Wow.
It was just so I was playing that record for the longest time. No other stores had the record.
Wow.
They didn't know the name because you didn't know the name.
White label?
Yeah, people would come in and be like, "Is the one goes doom doo 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 doo?" What the fuck? How are you gonna order that?
Yeah.
So for a while there, I was the only
No
one.
Shazam back then?
There was no Shazam.
You had to bring like a tape recorder.
Yeah.
And just like, oh,
Just
shit.
Yeah.
recorded. Yeah. No
So
shit.
I was, we had that kind of working relationship. I remember the guy working. His name was Marcos. He had just done Café con Leche, Presidente, and like, hey, here's the acetate. Like we had that type of like dope.
That plug.
Yeah, that plug. We were in sync. And I started when I was releasing my first two. This is a Test Volume 1 and Volume 2. I did a deal with you could buy it at Exodus first. I gave it to Exodus first. So I had a long-term working relationship with them, and finding music like that back then was awesome.
Yeah, so
But
much
now it's amazing. It just all comes to my laptop.
Yeah.
and I'm just like, oh, this record's
Sit
dope.
at home.
Yeah,
You get
this
a text.
record's dope.
It's like, oh, new Diplo record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you guys play it on the show or
Yeah.
put it on the site?
That's just, you know, the
amazing.
the way music moves today is just as exciting. And now, bro, sometimes on IG, somebody will be like, oh, I just did this bootleg remix of Everybody Rules the World. DM them right there. Send me this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And boom, you have
do
it
that a
right
lot,
then.
yeah.
And boom, it's on Powertools that weekend.
You should give someone your stems and like just do like not where not you do it, but like a producer that's up and coming that you like,
Right.
Or even a couple of them, and give them all the stems to one, and then put out like a
remix it, yeah.
reboot like
Yeah.
EP,
Yeah, that would be
and then we
cool.
can drop it on Headliner Music Club.
Yeah.
You know? That'd be super cool.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
Yeah, it's amazing the way music is moving, and like the record that I have coming out on House Trap, like I came up with an idea. I shot it to this guy, Am Brooks in UK. He started off the track, then he sent it to this other guy in LA.
Oh, yeah.
Then they send it back to me. I finish up the record. Like to have that.
Yeah.
You know,
technology's amazing.
Technology, not have to get into the room with somebody and be able to collab from somebody from the UK, somebody else, you know, Lost at the Rave in LA. And it's really exciting time right now.
Did you get a chance to like do a lot of UK tours? Because I know
No,
like
I did not.
I feel like the even like just all of Europe,
Yeah.
like the house scene over there is
Yeah.
pretty massive too, right?
Yeah, back then in this is where I started learning, like, you know, the hard house and all that. If you go to Europe, like they were just on a different frequency, and so I didn't have very many opportunities because back then I didn't really have let's just say to be able to play a full set of just house music. I didn't have that down. That wasn't in my repertoire, because for the longest time you're playing at raves and stuff. We're like, yo, I got to start off at 134 BPMs and work my way down. So it took a long time for me to really, I think, hone in just playing a dope house set.
Right.
And I still don't even know if I have it down.
No,
You
well,
know?
we-
Yeah.
you know how art sets are.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
all
just,
over the place.
Yeah, it's just you're still learning. Like, oh man, I always go back and like, man, I should not play these two records, or these two records should have been like a little later on. But yeah, I didn't have, you know, I did Japan a lot. I did Australia a lot because I liked that was a big record in Australia.
Oh wow.
So I've done more of them, but Europe is not something that I can say that, yeah, I've conquered.
It's a whole different town, huh? Like whole different sound, different people.
Yeah. They're
Because there's some people that might be massive out there that just never crossed over to the States.
I mean, right now in dance music, there are people that I'll have on Powertools, and they'll be like, yo, do you want this DJ? And I'm like, I've heard a couple of his songs. I think they're dope. Let me look him up on Instagram. 740,000 followers?
Yeah.
Damn, this guy's massive.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Like, and that's where, like, are you guys familiar with A-Lock?
Yeah.
Okay, so,
I'm not.
He's
Okay.
from Brazil, right?
yeah, he's from Brazil.
Yeah.
So I played a couple of A-Lock records maybe 6-7 years ago, and they were cool. And somebody's like, yo, do you want to have A-Lock on? And I was like,
dope.
oh, I remember those records. And boom. So A-Lock has more followers than Tiesto, Cascade,
No way.
and Stevie Aoki combined.
And he has crazy like fans. Like I've had a lot of
Crazy.
requests for
No
that.
way.
Bro, he did a New Year's Eve party for free in the streets of Brazil, and 1 million people showed up.
Wow.
So, like, it's crazy because he's not a household name
Yeah.
in the
Out here,
States
but
yet.
everywhere else,
But
yeah.
globally, and that's
Yeah,
what
that's
I
my point.
love.
It's like a lot of these guys. You know?
Yeah, that's what I love about how music is moving right now.
Yeah.
There's so many fans with the internet. You can build different pockets in different places.
It's funny how like a lot of people. I grew up very just regional, local kid. Where like to me, like I thought everyone knew who Mark V and Poogie, all
Right.
the hard house guys. I
Right.
thought they were
Yeah.
just this is
Right.
everyone listens to this shit, and obviously not the case. And And wait, what was that? I lost my train of thought. Oh shit!
This is live.
This is always
Don't
live.
edit this part.
What was I gonna say? Holy fuck!
Maybe
I was
you-
starting
About how
to
the
get
music
three
was
things.
not. No,
No,
something-
you realize. I think you were trying to go to the point of like you would go to different cities or different places, and you realize like
Oh,
it's
okay,
not
this
the
is-
guys were,
same
like,
as
more
LA.
No, this
global
is what I was gonna say. So,
Yeah.
so I always thought like, oh, house music, right? But now I'm learning there's so many fucking different genres of house.
Subgenres.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like tech house, deep house, fucking, just
Yeah, there's so
you
many-
obviously
yeah.
know way more
Yeah.
than me, but I
Yeah.
mean, there's insane. It's just like hip hop.
Go on
So-
like the dance house music Twitter threads. Oh my god, they're just arguing all day about this genre,
like it's
that.
not
I'm
just house music.
Yeah.
It's just like so many different
like, oh, this
pockets.
melodic techno house.
I
from,
call
you
it
know-
for me. It's all house and techno.
Yeah.
For me, that's how I just look at. You can give bass house, tech house, Latin tech house. You can give all these different terms. I still look at it as house music and techno.
Yeah.
Like it's still the same, you know. And now I had explained the other day. They're like, "Well, isn't house music EDM?" And
Right.
I had to like, for me, this is just my perspective, and people may say, that's wrong. For me, there's a difference between house and EDM. I think EDM is its own thing, and house music. And they were like, "Well, what's the difference?" And I, EDM was dance music that made you jump up and down.
Confetti blast.
Like a
music.
Yes.
big room.
House
like,
music
dance music.
makes you dance for 4
Like
hours
groove,
straight.
yeah.
Yes, it's a groove.
So there is a difference. I don't consider house EDM.
I
what I'm
100%
producing
agree.
right now to me is house and techno, and I'm not dissing EDM, but I think there's a difference, and I think the
Yeah.
new generation that is coming up too, like they're like they're screaming house music. I fucking love house.
Yeah. But even like the more groovy or like just just mellow dance music, right? And you
Right.
see them at the festival, and the drops is like not like a big room drop.
Right.
It'd be like a mellow drop.
Yeah.
But the whole crowd's going
Yeah.
nuts.
Yeah.
But a lot of the, I feel like even in today's, even EDM, they got those crazy chords into a big drop and into a big build, and then the
Right.
drop
Yeah.
is just like a mellow drop.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh
yeah.
shit, okay, it's going a different route too. They're trying to like merge.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to merge the different worlds. I think for a while there, EDM became very simplified. It was like, here's a big drum roll, say something right before the drop, and then have the drop hit with a kick and just one loud synth.
And the
It's like-
synth
it
was
became
always
very-
trendy. It
yeah.
was like this is a sound now, and then
yeah.
the sound that's an old sound. Now it's this sound,
Yeah.
and it was just like a vocal chop versus a big sounding synth
Right.
versus
No, 100%. And I think it became very formula, where to now I think house music is like, bro, let's start off. I just got a record that the kick doesn't come in till 2.5 minutes. Let's just start off with claps. Like it's not a necessarily formula. It's just like, let's just make something dope. Let's make something different.
Yeah, there's a lot of records that are like that now, where like I throw the shit off out of these confetti and sound guy or
my
lighting guys
God.
at the
Right.
club, where they hear the build and then they hit the confetti, and then it'll be like
Another
like a bar or two of claps or
Right,
vocals,
right.
and they're just like way too early.
Right.
Yeah, it happens a lot now. We're just like, you never know where you're gonna get.
So
Amazing.
You're screwing the light guy.
They're screwing me.
Oh.
Because at the end of they're screwing me because the crowd thinks I hit it.
Yeah.
You know what's
Think about
crazy
it.
is
Every
like-
time something goes off in the club, the DJ did it. It could be like the fire alarm goes
So a
off.
couple DJs, right, in Vegas, part of their deal is if you don't hit the cryo or confetti on point or on like the right drop,
Right.
the club has to pay a fine is part of their contract.
No way.
The club pays like a couple G's or
Well,
5,000.
some of the big guys bring in their own sound, lighting,
Yeah.
confetti.
Yeah.
They have their whole team doing it. And then there is like, even like Pauline was working at time.
Yeah.
And there was a couple managers yelling at her because she didn't hit the confetti on on time.
Right.
I'm like, this isn't my job. And like he started like hitting it himself, and then he would hit it wrong.
Yeah.
And then the DJ would look at him, but he was trying to play manager and
Right.
yelling at her when he was
But he didn't know
fucking up
either.
too. Yeah.
What a
Maybe
bum.
the DJ. I mean, if you have fake drops, then you gotta. I don't know the solution. Only the DJ knows when the actual
Yeah.
drop is going to
No, that's
happen.
true, 'cause you
or
don't-
somebody on his team that knows that record.
Just give me the confetti button, man. I'll do
Yeah.
it myself.
There you go.
Sometimes I wonder, because there's some lighting guys that are very on point every time, and I'm always wondering, like, do they know every record, or do they have like a camera on my
They probably, well, the
Serato
ones that we
screen?
play at like frequently, like they probably know our sets, like, you know, like, and they probably
No,
hear
but sometimes, bro, like I feel like they can see what's next. Like I just it's
Yeah.
something, and they can see the wave. I don't know, bro. Like the shit is too.
I
on
think
point.
I think they're listening. I don't think they're looking. I think they're listening, and they're so
Yeah.
good at knowing how to capture that moment at the right drop. And you got to remember that same guy is at the club 4 nights a week.
Yeah.
So he's pretty much has it down.
But there is some people that do have a camera on your.
used to be, what's the one?
Because there was one where they're showing music videos.
Liv used to do that.
There you go, Liv.
Right.
And the guy next to you would
Yeah.
like just see what
And I
you're
was like,
playing.
how? No. There was a different time where he was like, "Oh, I have a camera that's pointing to your screen."
Ah.
It might have been.
That's what it was. I
forgot
remember,
where
yeah.
it was. It
so
might
he
have been
sees
Liv.
the song you're playing, and
And
then
he would
plays the
play the
video.
video,
because
yeah.
it was like, "Yo,
That's
how
dope.
is the music video in sync?"
Yeah.
And I'm not like a video DJ, so I
Right.
was just like, "What the fuck?" And he was like, "I have a camera there,
Yeah.
so I know what you're playing." I was like, "Oh shit, okay."
Dope.
Man, amazing,
next
bro.
level.
Yeah,
so
dude.
what's going on now, and what's next? And I feel like I wish I would have asked Instagram questions, because
No,
I know
you don't want-
It would've
there's
been
some
flooded.
shit that people want to know. They're like, "Bro, you had Richard there, and you didn't ask him about this," and it's just like, "Fuck,
Nah, I
you're
think
right."
we covered everything. What's next?
If not,
is-
we'll have you
Well,
back
there's-
for part
I
2.
think you know, in the immediate future, we're doing some really, really cool stuff with SiriusXM with Powertools. I think we have a couple of cool things lined up that I'm excited about, and that venture is really dope. I've relaunched my dance label Soulmatic again with
Amazing.
David Garcia, and we just put out a single with Tima D called Front and Back. That's got some cool vibes on it, and I've got like
and then you did
4 singles.
one
coming
with
out. Yeah.
Bam Bam.
That's the one with Bam Bam.
That's
and
the one with
yeah,
Bam Bam.
yeah,
Got
and Tima D. With Bam Bam, Tima D, and DJ Chic.
That's another legend too. Bam Bam.
Yeah, I
Bam
remember
Bam
Bam
used
Bam.
to
Yeah.
DJ Bam Bam. I think he had like a mohawk or some shit at
Yeah,
one point.
yeah, he
Little
was-
mohawk.
Bam's crazy.
He had a cool look.
And you know, that's kind of I'm working on a documentary
Nice.
there you go.
that I'm pretty excited about.
Do you have old footage, like video footage of
I
like
have-
old interviews and
yes.
power tool?
Yes.
That's gonna be so dope.
Who would
have-
film?
Actually, I'm not doing a documentary on Powertools.
No, I know, but
Luckily,
like it's part of the story.
So the documentary that I'm doing, I'm really excited about, and I'm working with some really, really talented people on this. It's a documentary about how things started in Los Angeles in the DJ scene, and it actually started it in East LA in the early 80s.
Okay.
And it was the generation before me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm here because of how these people, what they did. And I know I've inspired other DJs. And it all
100%.
goes back to what this boom that happened in the early 80s, how they created a club culture from nothing, from just hard work, printing up flyers, renting halls, doing house parties, eventually moving to Florentine Gardens and doing the Casa. And it's really telling that story of how dance music really started in Los Angeles.
Wow,
It's
that's nice.
it's very cool. It was underground, and it's like and I get to pay homage to the people that came before me. And we got some really, really cool people that we're working with, really cool company with Endemol behind it. And there's some big names behind it. I don't want to mention any of the big names yet,
Yeah.
but that will all be coming out soon.
Dope.
Dope.
Hell yeah.
Looking
But
forward
yeah,
to it.
we're starting to we've been working on this for a while, but it goes into full production mode next month.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and I'm
very
really-
excited
yeah,
for that.
That I'm excited to tell that story because the story is bonkers.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
can imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, thank you,
Yeah.
Richard.
Thank you,
No,
man.
thank you for having me.
Of course. We would love to have you on Fade University one day, so no pressure.
Yeah, when I get that call, I don't. You know,
It has to be in
Yeah.
person.
Yeah.
Hey, do you want to
Okay.
be on the show? Okay, there you
Of
go.
course, there you go.
Man,
There
we're
you
not-
go.
we're not sent-
So
we're
I
not
get
asking-
to mix here with the plastic on the stuff.
You get to mix here, bro. We got
You'll
the
take off the
3000s.
plastic?
We'll take off the
All
plastic.
right, dope.
All right. Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you, guys.
Richard Vision, thank you again
Thank
so
you.
much. Congrats on 30 years
Yep.
Thank you.
to infinity and beyond. Peace.